Network Entertainment.
Who's ready for story time?
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
Let me talk to him.
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I have to finish the story.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Run!
Bang! The sniper is shooting you down. This is TMDK's Robbie Eagles.
Hey, this is the Cosmic Cactus, Paul London.
Hello, my name is Ilja Dragunov, the Czar, the NXT champion, and you're listening to...
And you're listening to...
And you're listening...
And you are listening...
And you're listening
to the Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
To the Wrestling Podcast. Yeah.
Watching and listening to the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. Stan, si Romoran, Emile natin checking in on a Thursday. We miss doing this. Kahit na last week lang naman yung na-miss naming live stream. We realized since we started doing this in the era of the Panini and the darkest timeline, we haven't really missed a Thursday until last week. So, na-feel namin lahat yung vacuum. So, it's just great to be back with everyone. Great that we are spending this Thursday together before the peak craziness happens, diba, with all the holiday traffic and all the events next week. So kung nakapag-Christmas party na kayo, good for you. Kung medyo work from home mode na kayo for the next 2 weeks, good for you. Try your best to stay away from the traffic. Kasi ako dapat may lakad ako ngayon, pero I'm gonna yeet out of that because I know better at this point.
Hey, we can't say that. We can't say that.
Bakit?
You can say it.
Affected ba tayo ng trademark? Gumagawa pa tayo ng merch with the word yeet on it?
We might. We could. We really wanted
to. Speaking of merch, we are waiting for official wrestling podcast merch. We actually are working with some very talented people to bring you the merch of your favorite wrestling podcast. So that's happening sometime soon. But in the meantime, binati ni Earl, inuubo tuloy tayong lahat. Meron tayong Christmas raffle for this month. We've got LA Knight, an LA Knight gift pack. It's actually a t-shirt, an LA Knight beanie, and headbands that we are giving away. And di pa kami ganun kayaman na afford namin na bilhin to and then paraffle na lang ng basta-basta. So we're gonna have to ask you guys to participate by buying a ticket. So mura lang naman, 100 pesos for a ticket. And for our Wrestling Podcast patrons, one of the many benefits, which Emile will always tell you about, he'll do that again in a bit, is that you get 2 tickets for 100 pesos as opposed to everyone else now, 1 ticket for 100 pesos. So go ahead and check out everything on tinyurl.com/WWP Christmas Raffle. So to answer Glendale's question, yes, it's raffled as a set. So isa lang yung winner, and you get to keep everything. So, tulad na sinabi ng O-Town, all or nothing. You get all or nothing if you get
It's a whole ass pack. The size is large so that, it could technically fit all anyone who would win it. American sizing siya. If you're not large, then you still wear it. You're just gonna drown in the shirt. Pero the wristbands and the beanie, yan, for sure kasha yan sa'yo no matter what size you are.
Yeah. So go ahead and sign up on tinyurl.com/WWP Christmas Raffle. We're going to do the raffle live next week. Meron tayong live stream. So kind of weird to say, but you know what we mean. We're going to be at the TPN studios. We're going to be recording and streaming there live. Yung electronic raffle natin, si Jasper yung magmamando from the studio where we're at. Mag-hire din tayo ng DTI representative para i-check kung legit ba yung raffle natin.
Hey, may sumali na sa may bumili na ng tickets And from that purchase alone, they have a really good chance of getting it kasi, they increase their chances of winning. So baka gusto nyo tapatan yan. It's only 100 per ticket, guys. I know you're getting paid tomorrow and maybe today as well. I'm sure may 13th month na kayo. So if you want a full-ass LA Knight merch set for likely less than retail price, if you're not willing to get all that money, pay all that money for that many entries, this is your chance, guys. You never know.
Yeah. Di lang yun. This LA Knight Christmas gift pack is not the only one we're giving away in the next few months. And we're cooking something up for our anniversary in April. The actual items are already in my house right now as we speak. So, i-reveal natin yan when we get closer to our 10th anniversary this April. So, one of the many pakulo na ginagawa natin dito sa Wrestling Podcast. Now, let's tell you about the Patreon program, which Emile will, go through yung mga many benefits that you get when you sign up over on patreon.com/wrestling
podcast right there below. That's the link right there. You get benefits. Like Stan said, if in the raffle, if you are a member of our Patreon, you get 2 raffle entries for a single purchase of a ticket. So so added incentive yun. Also, you get to join in on our Discord community where you can interact with us and interact with your fellow podcasts and talk to us about anything. If you want to talk about wrestling or anything that you like to talk to us about, you can do that there. We also host some online watch parties there. So kung walang in actual viewing party, we also host some virtual watch parties there on the pay-per-views. Yeah.
I'm sorry, real quick, Emile. We're likely going to do World's End on the last weekend of the year, which is in a couple of weeks. That's going to be on December 31, diba? So that's a Sunday. Obviously, you're all home. And obviously, you're staying home because it's the new year. It's literally New Year's Eve. So if you want to catch this last pay-per-view, literally
you get some
of the
review
year,
content of the weekly wrestling shows courtesy of Rowan, ASH, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite, and some local wrestling happenings as well. And what else? Of course, the Pasavais, of course. The latest one has just concluded, and dinideliver na yung mga merchandise sa mga bumili. So if you are a part of our Patreon program, you get some special rates on the service fees that pinapato namin doon. And again, by subscribing to our Patreon, you're pretty much supporting everything that we do here in the pod. So again, it's at patreon.com/wrestling podcast. Link is right there below for only $5. So it's $150, $60 pesos in our local currency.
Yeah. Wait, I just want to add real quick. So notice lately I've been noticing na medyo nagiging barkada na kami sa Discord community namin. So if you want, a group of friends who want to talk about, hang back and talk shit, shoot the breeze a little bit on whatever, please do support us. It's really just a way of supporting us as well. And you don't have to stay locked in if, you feel like you don't need that extra expense on your debit card or your credit card. It's totally fine. We get it. We just really would like to ask for your support if you enjoy what we do. Kasi nakatulong yun eh. It helps us, even just a tiny bit, it helps us do what we do. It helps us give you watch parties. It helps us give you promos and gifts, diba? We try. I mean, we're growing it, pero we couldn't do it without your support as well.
Yeah, and the best part is we're building a community, a safe space that's as least toxic as possible, given how weird our fandom can get, for lack of a better term. So we're doing our best.
Yeah, if Mac is here watching or listening, I think he can attest. Kasi siya yung pinakabago namin or one of the newer subscribers. So I can tell he's been having a lot of fun talking to us about what have you. He's been talking about shoes. He's been talking about video games. So you could probably find some of your people as well, the way Mac did.
Yeah. That's what we're doing here sa Wrestling Podcast Patreon. We're building a tribe, building a community here of like-minded and hopefully sane wrestling fans. All right, let's talk some WWE first. And we got to start with that promo, that showdown between Seth freaking Rollins and CM Punk. So Seth freaking Rollins did not hold back. He basically called out Punk on the whole I'm home shtick na sinasabi niya na anong I'm home. 10 years na nawala ka kung ano sinasabi mo, di ba? Nagto-talk shit ka about the company, about the people here. Ako'y nandito, ako yung leader nila. So parang ang kapal na mukha mo is basically what Seth freaking Rollins is saying here. And it's actually a very interesting promo in the sense that now everybody's talking. People are kind of taking CM Punk's side because to a lot of people, siya pa rin yung conquering hero na, hey, I'm back diba? In WWE. But there are also some Rollins fans or some people who are taking up Seth Rollins' side here saying na, oh nga naman, diba? We've been watching wrestling. We haven't stopped. Just because we're WWE fans doesn't mean di tayo nanonood ng AEW. We know what Punk has said both in kayfabe and in real life. So it's kind of creating this division na parang civil war siya, diba? So whose side are you on here? Who do you think is actually correct? Si Punk ba or si Rollins?
Yeah, Emile, you cook first. I got to cook.
Yeah, it's kind of hard, but again, stemming back to all the things that have happened over the last couple of years, I tend to side with Seth Rollins. Kasi all of the things he said were true. All the things he said were something na narinig natin or nakita natin over the past 10 years with Punk. So I feel like he is justified in the things that he said. And I'm actually kind of rooting for Rollins here. Kahit na it's the unpopular choice because CM Punk is the popular guy. And siya yung conquering hero na kakabalik lang sa WWE. Right? And he has a story that he has to finish on his own as well. So, but yeah, I think to side with Rollins here for some reason. Nakuha ko yung side niya dito.
I want to answer Riddick's question here. I love your name, man, Riddick. That's totally awesome. Not because I know Riddick Moss, but don't hear that every day. Any thoughts on the match next week versus between Seth and Drew for the championship? I think Seth mananalo dyan kasi they're saving, or the money is already here in this graphic that you see, this image that you see here in front of you. Na it's Seth versus Punk. Why would you? But he's seeing it to Drew, even though Drew said some things as well that were true. This is the match everyone wants to see, and I think also until sign si Drew ng bagong contract with WWE, they're not giving him anything except for a really nice heel turn, which we talked about then a while back. So Gian's right. It's on day one, the day one episode of Monday Night Raw. Because that's a Monday. Anyway, going back to the question, yeah, Seth is right. Seth is right. Also, Seth cooked here. I don't know if CM Punk let him cook. I don't know if that was the direction. I don't care if there were no producers. Pero walang masabi si Punk. Lalo na if there were no producers, then Punk had nothing to say about this,
Teka lang, clarify lang natin na even if they say na walang
yeah.
producers, it doesn't mean walang writers. Everything that happens on TV, dumadaan yan sa writers, dumadaan yan kina Triple H or Kevin Dunn or Bruce Pritchard, sino mang boss dyan, diba? So just because they said na walang producers doesn't mean that it was just Seth and Punk cooking at one another here.
Yeah,
right?
That's right. There is still a narrative direction that the booker wants, which is Triple H. Diba? May gusto siyang mangyari, and then they let that happen. And I don't know what Punk was thinking when he let Seth cook him, but I can imagine it wasn't a good thing, a good thought inside his head. Diba? But Seth is right. We did hear Punk talk for nearly 10 years about how WWE was bad, even though Vince retired eventually, even though Triple H was in NXT. He didn't like Triple H, diba? He didn't like Vince, lalo na. And we didn't see this from him. We didn't see yung explanation niya from him because he was too busy papering over that with yung I'm home shtick niya, diba? He was saying he was home, and for the cult, that's enough. Para sa mga DDS. Enough na yun.
Sa mga panklawans.
Oh, sa panklawan. So, enough na yun for them. Kasi CM Punk is home, baby. I'm happy. That should be enough. But syempre, you and I, all three of us, we need a little more than that. So, that's what's missing. Kasi you do need to see the mindset behind the guy. You do need to see the psychology then behind this particular change of heart. Mikey, our friend Mikey, already told me that he did kind of address this in his first return back. He did say that WWE was where the best competition is, and he has to be the best in the world in WWE to be the best in the world, period. Diba? That's totally fine, sure. But Seth is still right. May point pa rin siya na he still hasn't quite addressed why he would go back despite trashing this whole place. Diba? Maybe we need a little more, a little more behind this. Mas kailangan pa natin ng something more solid behind this. But I don't know. Kasi when he walked out, we got the explanation that we wanted about in the Art of Wrestling podcast. So did a lot of other people, like Jericho explained, Moxley explained. So don't we also deserve an explanation as to why he ate his pride, why he ate shit going back, diba? Because if they don't address this, if Punk doesn't address this, people like Rollins are just gonna keep coming back at him with this whole thing. They're gonna call him out on his shit. And if Punk wants to be a pure babyface that everyone will cheer, no matter what you feel about him, kailangan niyang sabihin to. He needs to say that he grew up. He needs to say that he became an adult. He got over himself. Kasi otherwise, they're just gonna call it out until he snaps and becomes another heel, the heel character that people love. Diba? Yun lang talaga. I mean, for a guy who loves storytelling, he's not fulfilling that part of the story, that really important key part of the story.
Eto, a couple of things that I want to ask you about. The first is, what did you feel when Rollins said to Punk na deep down, alam mo, last chance mo na to eh. So that was a line-blurring moment.
Yes.
Diba? What do you think about that? And the second, people have been comparing this to the Hangman Page promo. So what do you think about that comparison naman?
Gian is right, by the way. Punk should have admitted that. That's the key thing. I think if he admits that in front of the world, so yeah, I'll cheer this guy because he showed me self-awareness. I'll not cheer. I'll probably a little bit more sympathetic, diba? Kasi yun naman gusto ko, yung accountability to himself and to the fans, right? I would love that. I would really love that. But I don't know how far or how deep he's gonna swallow that pride. So yeah. As for the comparison, it's silly to compare. Our friend Mark Thompson has asked us to comment on the similarity between this promo, and the Hangman Page promo, in which Hangman literally said the same thing. The thing about that is, Eman, kailangan niya explain eh. Kasi nagtanong si Seth. So you can't leave that hanging. You saw how it affected him in the segment, diba? He had nothing to say. So if you have nothing to say, you tell the truth. Say it. Wala akong choice eh. Ito na yung huli kong pagkakataon para maging relevant, para maging big time sa wrestling. UFC failed. The film career didn't really take off, So I need the money. He did say he's not here to make friends. He's here to make money. That's something. If you repeat that on the record, on the mic, I would have really accepted that. Anyway, going back, you can't compare the Hangman promo to this promo. Kasi the Hangman promo started this entire chain of events that led to us getting this promo. You can't tell me that if Hangman was professional, they would have done a lot better. Or they would have had something like this, diba? Kasi for one, I don't even think Punk would agree to, a kayfabe exchange in which he gets called an asshole and a threat to the company. Talagang hindi siya papayag doon kasi it makes him look bad, diba? Why would you agree to that out of nowhere, diba? Maybe if you hash things out, backstage, pero he's not gonna agree to that, diba? Yeah, Gian is right. Di natin alam na may issue pala siya backstage. So if he doesn't go off like that, nothing happens. Punk stays, and you would probably still be watching AEW. So, you shouldn't compare this kasi WWE learned from this and did it the way they think they should do it. without anything, without that, they don't get the chance to do this at all. They don't get the Punk return at all.
Oh, walang kagatang mangyayari.
Oh.
This is the last chance. I'm glad that Seth actually alluded to that. Really,
Yeah.
Didn't just allude to it. He said it.
Yeah,
outright.
he said it.
No, yun nga, kasi nga, that's what everyone is thinking, di ba? That he only went to WWE because this is literally his last chance. Parang he is trying to save his legacy, and this is his last chance to do it. So I'm glad that they addressed it. Kasi it is what it is. It's the reality, and Punk needs to face that fact na, you know, he's in WWE not because he wants to, but because he needs to.
Yeah, great points all around. So with this, CM Punk officially is a part of the Monday Night Raw roster, and we did see him tease for about a week na magiging SmackDown guy siya. He appeared on NXT at the top of Deadline, and ultimately, as all of us predicted, he would stay on Monday Night Raw. So, question for you guys, would you have wanted to see Punk somewhere else? Knowing that Rollins was there, knowing that the money feud was likely to be Rollins versus Punk, would you have wanted to see Punk somewhere else though?
Before that, I wanted to answer Eamon saying he did apologize for walking out. Yes, he apologized for walking out, but he doesn't apologize for everything else that he did after. I say he apologized to the fans for walking out. He didn't apologize to the management for saying what he said. He hasn't done that on the record yet, or on any record that we are privy to, diba? So yun lang naman. That's the key bit missing. Kasi that's the key bit that drove him this entire time. That's why he went to AEW. Diba? That's why he did everything that he did. He went to UFC, did AEW. So yun pa. That's still a thing that he needs to make up for, I think. The question of him going to NXT, going to other places, the smart in me wanted him to go to NXT because he has actually expressed that he wants to be the next head of NXT. That's totally cool. I actually feel that is compelling. I like that for him because meron naman siya ituturo sa mga bata, you know. Just don't ask him to, you know, teach anger management or whatever. But there are things that you can learn from CM Punk. That's definitely true. Obviously, got to do what's best for business, syempre, and have the money match between Seth and himself. And Seth knew that as well, diba? Ang sa akin lang is, it was just such a shameless ratings grab for him to go to NXT.
No ratings grab. He just went to Deadline. How's that a ratings grab?
No, I mean, like, you know, it was a buzz grab for NXT.
Yeah.
Diba? I mean, everybody knows.
So nagpaka-Lexus King yung NXT.
Oh, Punk isn't gonna Punk isn't gonna sign with NXT, even though you and I want him to. Even though that would be way more compelling than him signing with Raw and SmackDown. Pero yeah,
Tapos
yeah, go ahead.
Katapat pa nila yung collision when Deadline happened, so it was kind of it was a funny thing.
That's the Wednesday Night Wars Part 5 or whatever, diba?
Yeah.
It's just kind of weird, kind of funny na a year and a few months after Collision debuted because of Punk, here he is on the same time slot for the other company.
Yeah. This question was na if I wanted to see Punk somewhere else. Probably not until after Mania. This is something that he really needs to get out of the way first. Yung kanyang dream of main eventing Mania. And the only way he could do that is on Raw. Kasi on SmackDown, it's, you know, Roman Reigns. He's pretty occupied in the SmackDown side. So his best chance really is against Rollins. This is, again, the money match.
Yeah, so he can finish the story.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Sorry.
I have a question.
Oh.
Does this feud go beyond the face-heel alignment, or do you want someone to turn heel here?
People are not gonna boo Punk. That's the sad truth that I have to live with. You know, yung nga kulto. So people are gonna think Seth is the bad guy here, but Seth was also telling the truth. He was telling his truth, diba? May hugot siya na sarili niya. So can you blame him for that? He stayed. He made his money. He listened to the boss. He got under the boss, diba?
Became a franchise player.
Yeah, so his gripes are real. He does feel personally attacked by this guy crawling back. So how can you boo that, diba? You can only boo that if you're a hardcore Punk fan, which, you know, we know some people who are.
Yeah. The way I rationalize it in my head, the way it makes sense to me is they're just forces of nature that exist on their own, like regardless of alignment. Para siyang New Japan, di ba? Na it can be on paper face versus face, pero magkaiba sila ng pinaglalaban. Like, pareho silang justified, pareho silang relatable. So it's a compelling story regardless of alignment. And I think Rollins and Punk as wrestling entities, as personalities, sobrang layered na ng history nila na they can transcend that and go to the gray area.
I will give Punk credit. He made me care about Rollins again because he wasn't there for the past few months until he came back. So I guess now we can ignore the fact that he has a broken back and focus on the part that he has a broken heart. So
yeah. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about Yeet and more. But first, a quick word from our other podcasts on the Pod Network. All right, let's talk about Yeet and that very brief saga that Jey Uso went through. So last week, if you were watching Raw, sobrang nakakatawa, very jarring din. Out of nowhere, he stopped wearing the Yeet shirt. Yung video package, naka-censor siya like it was a bad word.
Like it was a
or
Japanese
if you want to go,
film.
Oh, you're there. Thank you. Thank you for making the reference I was about to make. And then all of a sudden, Raw happens ulit, and he's back to saying Yeet. He can wear the shirt once again. And in the day since, nalaman natin na it was a trademark issue. So apparently, there's this indie wrestler named, what's his name? Casey Huffman from West Virginia, who had trademarked the word Yeet long before Jey Uso used it on WWE television. And it's kind of weird that this one dude trademarked it right away because I've been using or seeing Yeet on social media since 2018, 2019, diba? So it's been around for a while, and I'm sure you guys also have seen it on social media for years before Jey Uso made it his thing in WWE. So apparently this dude, Casey Huffman, had it trademarked. So nung nalaman ng WWE, they'd already printed shirts and sold the merch and people were already wearing it at the shows. Sabi nila all of a sudden, okay, wala munang Yeet. They resolved it, and then now he can say Yeet again because apparently na-uncover ng Fightful na yung trademark ni Casey Huffman is now listed as a dead application. Refused, dismissed, or invalidated. Basically, hindi na siya na-sustain yung trademark. Kaya pwede na siyang gamitin ulit.
Okay, so there are a bunch of questions here. First, ano yung meaning ng Yeet? Now, Yeet is just, a word that people say to, it's like, let's fucking go, diba? So, Yeet used to mean throw away, diba?
Yeah.
Yeet yourself out the window, something like that. So now, it's
or
really,
Yeet out, to go out.
Yeah. So, second question, mahal ba magpa-trademark? No, it's not, because the wrestlers do it all the time. I don't know kung super mahal niya, but it is still a legal process, a legal application. So, you will kind of spend some money, but I guess not as much money, especially compared to the money you will make off of that alone. How can one trademark a word? Really easy. You own the word and you use it a lot, and you have it associated with your brand, yourself. A word can be intellectual property, Earl. People trademark words all the time. That's why names are trademarked. That's a word.
Pero in the US, nakaano rin yan, may categories din yan. So for example, for wrestling or entertainment purposes, that's a specific category. So kunwari gusto mo magbenta ng merch for wrestling purposes, yun. So naka-specify talaga yan. If you want more information on trademarking for wrestling, there's a Talk is Jericho episode featuring Michael Dawkins, who is the wrestling trademark lawyer. Like, siya talaga yung nag-handle ng mga trademarks sa States.
The word also has to be used by you. You have to prove that you're using it. And for the legal system to associate that with you. So that's how you trademark something you're saying. Yeah. So, that was supposed to be my question of the day because I heard it from the Masked Man. I'm sure you know. If you had a trademark that WWE needed, what would you give up for it? What would you demand for it? What is the hook for you to give up that trademark to the WWE?
Parang siyang WWE Most Wanted Treasures. Like they would offer, kunwari, bigay mo yung memorabilia, bibigyan kita ng WrestleMania seats. Na parang for me, like it's great and all, pero after WrestleMania, tapos na eh. Nag-give up mo yung item and then wala na. Nakapag-WrestleMania na, it's come and gone, right? I think pera lang talaga yung sagot eh.
Season tickets.
Pera or house and lot.
Whatever the equivalent of season ticket. Parang, let's say Roman Reigns needs my trademark. I would give it up for lifetime WrestleMania tickets.
Or
Wow,
lifetime of free gas.
Oh yeah. Ikaw, Emile, what would you give up? What would you demand for your trademark?
Yeah, probably lots of money. Yeah, that's
How's it?
yeah,
Pangkabuhayan package. Tricycle para sa hanap buhay.
Gusto ko yung money na papasok, yung magiging stupid rich ka na pwede kang magpa-yacht party just because stupid rich ka. Alam mo yun?
It would be really funny if you asked for enough money to start your own wrestling promotion.
Sobrang kapal na mukhang boots.
You want my Roman Reigns wants my trademark? Make me the next Tony Khan.
Si Earl gusto niya lifetime merch of any WWE shirt you want.
One shirt?
Why not?
Just one design?
No, like
any lifetime hookups sa WWE shop.
I mean, that's great and all, pero let's think bigger picture here. Let's shoot for the yachts, man. Yung talagang stupid rich talaga, di ba?
Yeah, Tony Khan money. If I make my own company, make enough money to buy a yacht.
It's money, pero it's gonna be given to you in like parang installment. Like for 1 year.
Yeah, so parang nanalo na loto.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you're getting the Shohei Ohtani contract,
Yeah,
is what you're saying.
Yes.
Gian, wag naman wag WWE superstar kasi pag nasibak ka, di wala na. Di ba? Fired ka na. Papasisanti ka pa eh.
No,
payaman ka na lang.
Gian, I will take you up by saying that I would want to be trained by Shawn Michaels sa performance center. Yon, papatulong ka yun. Okay, yun.
Ito si Joe, business-minded. TKO shares yun.
That's smart. Yeah, the TKO shares, yeah.
All right. Let's move on here. Let's stay with Raw and talk about R-Truth and the Judgment Day, which at this point is a full-blown story. Kasi nung una kala ko, one-off lang siya, but now we're like 3 or 4 weeks into it. This is actually a thing.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Sami Zayn Bloodline story, which literally happened this time last year. Obviously, I don't think they're gonna do the same thing that making R-Truth the honorary Judgment Day member. Obviously, we all know how that's going to play out. We've seen it happen. It led to a main event championship match. But, I feel like it isn't helping the ongoing implosion of, Damian Priest's part of the Judgment Day. Diba? It was supposed to be a super serious thing that they're doing. And then they somehow stumbled into R-Truth getting over by interacting with the group. So, I don't know. So, what's happening now? Are we delaying the inevitable because R-Truth is now messing with the group and, eating their donuts? Is this happening at the same time? Are we supposed to feel amusement and the hype, I guess, for Damian Priest getting kicked out? Who is supposed to be the face here? Am I gonna have to cheer? Am I still gonna have to cheer Damian Priest as the rest of them are turning on him? Anong nangyayari? Parang okay, this is the monkey wrench thrown in their plans.
Now, ako yung the thing that makes me question things here is the Judgment Day is this serious group na, you don't mess with them, you don't F with them. And then R-Truth comes in, mag-isa lang siya, wala siyang rest back, wala siyang tropa, and yet he's able to infiltrate this way. Na parang, why don't they just kill the guy, metaphorically, and be done with R-Truth? Alam mo, like, nabawasan yung street cred ng Judgment Day para sa akin.
Yeah. Tsaka, Dom was already the comedy character of the group. Yeah. Diba? Tapos then you allowed R-Truth to fuck with him. Diba? I guess it's leading to the Creed brothers feud, but still. Sorry.
Yeah, I feel like this is a short program na R-Truth will get side quest, like R-Truth would get beaten up, and then the rest back yung Alpha Academy and Creed brothers, and then it's gonna lead to a multi-man match. Tapos yan. After that, it's back to the implosion of the Judgment Day. I think this is just for the holidays, parang a good feel-good program for the holidays, I think. Because they always do this. They always do a storyline like this pag malapit na yung Pasko.
Ano yung feel-good ending Judgment Day na si R-Truth?
No, it's Alpha Academy and Creed Brothers, like they're sila talaga yung
they beat the champ. No, they beat the or the Creed brothers become tag team champs. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
sure.
probably. Yeah,
and it's just that there was the thing that was already happening while while this was all going on, diba? They were in the process of kicking Damien out. So, and then nabiglang nasali si R-Truth, diba? Meron siya eh, diba? So, I don't know. It's funny, but bigger picture, it's not working.
Yeah. Okay, let's stay with WWE and go to NXT here and talk about this renewed story with Melo and Trick. And now Ilja Dragunov is involved. Si Melo, ina-accuse niya si Ilja Dragunov. Ang seryoso ng paratang. Ikaw yung attacker. Naman si Ilja. Sobrang shocked siya. Ba't ako? Ba't naging kasalanan ko? Natawa ako sa face ni Ilja Dragunov. He was literally Bea Alonso nung in-accuse siya ni Carmelo Hayes. So, all signs right now, to me at least, as a viewer, point to Carmelo being the attacker naman talaga na maybe Ilja Dragunov was right. Maybe Melo wasn't attacked kasi Melo was the attacker. And zooming out, it makes me wonder, how do you guys feel about two storylines happening at the same time in AEW and NXT where there's a mystery attacker?
And the funnier part is that the other storyline has used the other guy's catchphrase. The devil shirt says, "I'm him." So, so there is... I feel like someone's not watching the other product. So, that can't be. At this point, in the age of social media, okay pa sana nung 90s eh, nung wala masyadong may internet, diba? Forums lang yung ano. But with social media, with clips everywhere, you can't say that you're not watching the other show, especially when you're both on TV, diba? So, it's not that big of a problem to me. But the "I'm him" thing is medyo a little sus. Yeah, it's funny. Ilja sold that really well. I thought he sold that really well, especially him in his over-the-top acting, diba? So that was pretty fun. Carmelo is pretty funny. Medyo naging absurd siya in the way that he tried to accuse Melo of being the attacker. So I think we're all in the clear now na it's gonna be Melo. I don't know who started the mystery attack angle first. I'm not sure if it was NXT or AEW or if they did that AEW at the same time. So who? Sorry, Emile. AEW did.
AEW. Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
It's like the Trick one only happened nung November or late October.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's
So it's one of those things na, like I said nung picks of the week about Edge and Christian and the Bloodline and how they did their matches, their finishes. So it's a point na somebody has to steer away from what the other company is doing. Kasi lest you get comparisons like this, people will see it, diba? People will see "I'm him." People will see the same type of attack. You gotta change it up when somebody is already doing something. So yun lang. But I am pretty amused by the whole Melo Trick thing.
Yeah, same thing. I'm very entertained with this Melo Trick thing kasi just the funny thing of Melo accusing Ilja Dragunov and yung di ba yung expression lagi ni Ilja laging galit. But when he got accused, parang siyang parang maamong tupa na he's telling Trick, "Oh, I'm not the one who attacked. I'm not the one who attacked you." Like it's a different side of Ilja and I haven't seen in a long time. That's what made the segment a little bit funnier to me because
hiningi nyo sabi nyo wala siya ibang emotion. Yan, indignant.
No, tsaka pala, one more thing that I wanted to point out. Trick is way more likable as a babyface than Melo. Diba? Melo was only forced into this babyface role when he was feuding with Braun. Diba?
Yeah.
Mas natural kay Trick. He's way more charismatic. The whole coolness comes more naturally to him. So I like that this is where they went. I think Trick is going to be some kind of star. I don't know how big yet. I don't know what his ceiling is, but he's going to be a star because he's just so likable. The theme song helps. Booker T helps. But talagang cool siya. And I really enjoyed how he's playing this, confused friend role. Na he just wants to be friends with his homeboy, but the homeboy is really sus. So I enjoyed this. I enjoyed the rise of Trick Willy.
I also enjoy Trick Williams referencing Michael Jordan and Tracy McGrady and all of that stuff. Boy knows his history.
Kaya siya cool. Kaya siya tinucheer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, the best part about Trick is he was great as a heel, but he's even better as a babyface, which shows na versatile siya. Magaling siya talaga.
Yeah, Angela, that's totally fine. Yeah, I would love to see that Trick versus Melo for the championship. That would mean Ilya has to be called up, which is deserve naman niya. Let's do that. Yeah, let's totally do that.
It could also be a farewell feud ni Melo sa NXT.
Yeah.
Diba? Great way to send him off. All right, let's go to AEW now, and let's get to a topic that Ro's been wanting to talk about, which is people on Twitter taking pictures at AEW events and posting na, oh, look at these half-empty arenas.
Yeah, this is so annoying, dude. I mean, like, who cares? I mean, yes, it's a bad look. This is the side na hindi pinapakita sa TV kasi mas puno yung side na kaharap ng hard cam. But who cares? I mean, like, there are so many different reasons as to why why an arena isn't full for a show, for a taping, for a TV event. This are also I also wanted to point out that this happened for NXT Deadline as well. Somebody snapped the pic of the hard cam side on the pay-per-view, on the PLE. And ganun din siya. Walang halos walang tao. I don't know. The thing kasi about this is that a lot of people spin this in a bad faith way. Like, you don't know what time of the night this was taken. These shots were taken. Di mo alam kung bago magsimula yung show, kung after the show or in the middle of the show. You just post it online and make your own assumptions about it. It's so fucking annoying. Like, who cares? There are so many different reasons as to why a show isn't sold out. Like, let's be real. Outside of NXT, there are 4 arena events in any given week of wrestling. Sometimes 5, sometimes 6, diba? Lalo na pag maraming pay-per-view PLE. Who has the money to go to all of those, diba? And I saw a recent tweet. Somebody said that an AEW event is so expensive now. They said that sa Canada, it was going for $1,000 for not even a ringside seat. So in this economy, who has enough money to go to all the shows and fill out all the seats, diba? The whole live crowd is important, yes, but it's also, when you factor in viewership, it's not the whole thing. You are still factoring in the people watching on TV across the world, not just across the country. People watching on the internet, diba? People illegally streaming your show. They're still watching your show and talking about it. That's still social media mileage. So this isn't the own that you think it is. Kasi tayo dito sa Pilipinas, we have our share of these incidents. We fucking performed in a 3-person show. And that didn't damage us anything. That didn't put us under, right? So who cares about AEW magicking the TV crowd to make it more fuller than it seems? Diba? Parang, do fans not have anything better to do than to post this stuff? I mean, like, come on. Why not? It's just so terrible. It's just so annoying to see this behavior online. Tapos, it's engagement bait, diba? It's engagement farming. Nah. People will bite on it, whether you're defending it or agreeing with it. It's just, wrestling discourse on social media has devolved to such an extent. Now, I want to quit it, but I can't because it's part of our promotion of this show, of this podcast. Diba? So, yun lang. It's really terrible. And I hope that you guys, whether you're in the Philippines, whether you're from anywhere else around the world, I hope that you don't stoop to this kind of behavior because it doesn't prove anything. It doesn't prove that a company is dying. It doesn't prove that a brand is dying. You know, it just is people not being at a show. And if people not being at shows means a company is dying, then I wish there were companies that were already dead at this point. So, you know.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys have anything to say about this.
No, I have something to say about this, and believe me, there are accounts, Twitter accounts dedicated to literally posting this and hating on companies, wishing them death, wishing them to fail, and it's pathetic. It's pathetic to me because if you pride yourself to be a wrestling fan, then why are you wishing less companies for the wrestlers to work with? Like, diba? Napaka-hypocrite nung stance na yun ng iba. So it's just again, Lance here. There's a comment here from Lance. Says it brings out the ugly side of fans. The tribalism has got it. I feel like when ever since CM Punk returned to WWE, the tribalism between two companies has gotten worse. Like there was a lot of bad takes, a lot of people saying ridiculous stuff, a lot of people saying that AEW is dead because they allowed CM Punk to go to WWE, which is kind of ridiculous because AEW business wise they're still good. They're still, even though they aren't as strong as before, but they're still doing good business despite of what other people are saying. So it's just ridiculous, man. Like if you are a wrestling fan, you should wish now more companies would pop up and more people would invest in wrestling companies so that these wrestlers, a lot of these wrestlers can have more places to work with, diba? Napaka sad lang na may mga ganitong fans na yung mentality nila is, oh, WWE ako, like fuck them all, fuck all these other companies. I'm sorry WWE, and I wish all other companies would die. It's sad and pathetic.
We need more companies that employ guys who think that Samoa Joe's first name is Samoa.
I mean, if the problem here really is money, it's all money. People don't have enough money to go to every show, and that's not a knock on the companies. It's a knock on the entire system, the society, life. But it's not.
Sabi nga ni LA Knight, that's not an insult. It's just a fact of life.
Yeah.
Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about that awkward promo between the Golden Jets and the AEW World Tag Team Champions. All of that and more after this quick word from our other podcasts on the Pod Network. All right, so if you watched Dynamite kanina, you would have noticed that there was a segment earlier between Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega and Ricky Starks and Big Bill. And, you would have expected that a verbal showdown between these two teams would have went well because you've got Jericho on one side, Ricky Starks on the other. But no, that is not what we got. In fact, what we got was a very awkward exchange where somehow the Golden Jets thought that making references to Enzo Amore and mocking Big Bill for that was an insult.
Yeah, I saw it kanina. It's really bad stand-up from Kenny, who shouldn't be doing stand-up. It's like doing stand-up in an old folks' home. Diba? So, pag matanda yung audience mo, diba? Hindi na magigets yung comedy mo. But it was really bad. It was really Kenny's sad attempt at delivering a zinger, but he fumbled it so bad that it didn't land the way it's supposed to. I was waiting for him to spell out SAWFT soft, and he didn't do that. That was the layup right there.
Yeah.
And he didn't do it. Di naman trademark ng WWE yun, diba? As far as I know, right?
I mean, it's been a while since Enzo Amore left WWE.
That was the layup right there, and he didn't do it. And he fumbled through his punchlines. He said crust. He said the Winnipeg Jets. He messed this whole thing up. It's like he was drunk or concussed or something. And Jericho surprisingly wasn't the guy delivering the zingers. It was so bad. Kaya nagets kasi Ricky na nagalit na siya sa dulo. So the good thing is Ricky didn't try to go toe-to-toe the way he did with Edge. So that would have been a lot worse. Yeah. At least Edge held his own there. Oh, Edge was... Used to say Edge nung segment na yun, but, Kenny was not. And it was such a flat way to get to the making of their tag team championship match, diba?
And like I don't find myself caring about this tag team championship match now. So parang okay, wala kayong chemistry as two teams. Even internally within the teams, I don't think there's much chemistry either.
At least see Billy Starks. Isa pa yun. Chris Jericho apparently isn't aware that they have a coworker literally named Billy Starks.
Billy Starks.
Yeah. At least Big Bill and Ricky admit na wala silang, di sila friends, diba? Di sila close. So I can get with that because if you have the self-awareness to know that, to admit that you're not, compadres or, brothers, blood brothers, then you're at least off to a good start. So you can build on that. But see Kenny and Jericho, they just, bonded over their mutual distrust of Don Callis, right?
Don Callis,
yeah, that's it. So Ricky saved the whole thing. He got mad. He went to the challenge, and we finally mercifully got the end of that segment.
Yeah. I feel like this was an off night for Kenny.
Super off.
this is not Kenny. Kasi Kenny's a good promo guy. Diba?
When he's not trying to do comedy, diba?
Yeah, he's a great promo guy. And Jericho, I mean, he's a legend, pero again, it was an off night for both of them. And this is why I kind of want AEW to also have like writers, maybe to help the wrestlers with their promos. Because if you let sometimes wrestlers do their thing on their own, may mga off nights talaga eh. Na hindi naman may iwasan yan. They're like, even the greatest of the great can have an off night. And this is an off night for both of them. Thank God for Ricky for saving the segment at the end. Pero sobrang awkward, sobrang cringe. Especially that Billy Starks thing. Like, and maybe the joke in there is like there's someone else on the roster named Billy Starks. Pero again,
poor girl was catching strays. Nananahilig sa likod yung tao eh.
Exactly. Exactly. So it was weird overall, and they could have done better. And now I'm less excited about the upcoming match at World's End because of this promo.
Mm-hmm. Ito may tanong si Gian, bakit daw wala sa Continental Classic si Kenny? Pakitanong kay Boss TK kasi hindi rin namin alam.
Wala siya na-explain eh, diba? So, he fucking booked Jay Lethal on that shit. So, no.
Hindi rin namin alam, man. It's just weird to me that the AEW prides himself in having the best tag team division in wrestling, but they have two teams of single stars competing for the tag team titles. Yeah. It's just weird to me. It's just weird to me at this point. Yeah.
All right, on to more weird things. We got Riho back as of last week. That's great. She had her first match back in like 6 months on TV. That's great. Kalaban niya si Ruby Soho. But now she's being positioned as Timeless Tony Storm's new number one contender. And I'm like, bakit ka naging number one contender 6 months kang awol?
Yeah. We're just going to repeat the gripes of Tony Khan not showing his work here. So it is what it is. I don't know what else that needs to be said. You're right. I mean, walang explanation for this. You do the Vince McMahon thing of bringing back someone and assume immediately that someone is that next in line. Diba? No work in Tony saying that, okay, I choose you to be the next challenger, or Tony Khan naming her at least and giving a reason. Wala, none of that because it's convenient.
Yeah, if anything, mas nagka-reason pa kung bakit wala si Luther kanina kasi nagka-gout siya. No, they actually took the time to explain na nagka-gout si Luther.
I love that. And I know it was a lot of work, pero I really miss them having the power ranking stuff.
Yeah.
Kasi at least, if there's a number one contender, it's justified. Kasi nakikita mo yung record niya eh. Na, this guy's on a hot streak. So, he's tumaas siya sa rankings and now he's the number one contender. I kind of miss that. Now it's just, the typical WWE, like they will slap everyone.
And he's doing Riho dirty because people already don't like Riho because they're weirdos, and now they have more of a reason, legit, to dislike her because they didn't build Riho up, and now she's challenging for the championship
against Tony Storm, who's popular at this point, diba?
Just to make it clear, kami on the podcast, we don't hate Riho. In fact, we like her very much.
Yeah, we love her.
Ro and I have shared a locker room with Riho. She's great. It's just na, parang narratively, we find ourselves questioning this as critics of, what we watch on TV.
And I don't want people to hate Riho. People already hate her.
Yeah.
She's awesome. Riho's awesome. So there's literally no reason people to hate her.
Lest we be called hypocrites on the pod, kasi dati we used to also dunk on the power rankings, diba? Because someone would go, get their stats padded by winning a bunch of matches on Dark or Elevation, then all of a sudden number one contender na sila. So we're not saying that we miss the power rankings, bring them back because it was perfect. It wasn't. It was not perfect. But yung alternative na, okay, someone comes back after 6 months of inactivity, biglang number one contender sila, it's not the best alternative either. So
yeah,
Glendale, it's Cornette's fault
could be better
for people hating Riho.
Yeah,
AEW is just pouring the gasoline in the fire. No, I speak for all of us when we say we just want the explanation. Like in your math test, we want you to show the work, the formula, the reasoning behind your answer. Diba? That's what we want here. Because we need a reason. Diba? Like Punk going back to WWE, we just need reasons.
Yeah.
Yep.
Eto, another announcement they had on AEW earlier was Ross and Marshall Von Erich, yung mga anak ni Kevin Von Erich, the last surviving of Von Erich brother. They're gonna be on Rampage over the weekend. They are tagging with Orange Cassidy in a trios match. And I just feel like this was a missed opportunity. Kasi sayang eh, diba? The Iron Claw had its big premiere. Nandun sina MJF, CJ Perry, Liv Morgan, John Cena. Na parang couldn't Marshall and Ross Von Erich have been trotted out on Dynamite to like interact with someone? Okay, in kayfabe, MJF is injured. But like a bigger star, diba? Instead, they get relegated to Rampage. Nasayangan ako dun.
I can kind of explain this because the young Von Erichs aren't entities at all. These are the big names or anything. They only have the Von Erich name, and because the Von Erich name had been kind of diminished over the past decades because of the accidents that have happened to them, they were only really big in the 70s and 80s. And right now, that doesn't really. If you're a young Von Erich, like the last notable young Von Erich I knew was Lacey from TNA from more than a decade ago. So gets ko to why they're not really in a big position. And to an extent, I also understand that they're trying to do that to beef up Rampage. But at the same time, the young Von Erichs aren't also going to beef up Rampage. So it's not, this one isn't AEW's fault. It is kind of the Von Erichs' fault for not really being over.
Nasisi pa sila eh.
Kasi I mean,
nagka-movie na nga yung pamilya nila, nasisi pa sila.
But these are not the guys. Huyo to mga batang to, diba? I mean,
these are nepo
yeah,
babies.
exactly. There you go. There may be a time.
Huyo patay na eh. What do you want to happen?
Exactly. But so yun nga, it's like the Saudi Arabian prince looking for dead wrestlers. Diba? The crown, diba? It's not AW's fault. Maybe it's not the kids' fault, but they're not that big of a deal to put on Dynamite. Diba? Who knows if they're even good wrestlers? But they're young kids in the wrestling industry, so we don't know that. I get this. It's just that the biggest name is old right here in the middle. He's old. he's not a wrestler anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sadly, he also wasn't the most famous Von Erich from from his group.
The most famous Von Erichs are dead. They died.
Yeah. They died.
Christian will tell you.
Jeez. All right, this took a dark turn. Jesus Christ. Let's move on. Something happier. Just so we can end our podcast on a non-dark note. Let's go to TNA, who picked up Kushida as its latest signing. So he's going back after having spent some time again traveling back and forth between New Japan and Impact. So now, in time for TNA's rebranding in 2024, the Time Splitter is making his way back to the US. And Emile, I know you have a lot of feelings about this.
There's a recent trends of people from, especially the foreign or the US-based wrestlers from NJPW going to the Western promotions. Like we already saw it with Will Ospreay, and like it's much more convenient for him to be in AEW and still gonna appear on NJPW. I think that's the same thing here with Kushida. Kasi he was already with WWE for a while. So and then I think Ro, you said his family is now based in the US.
Yeah.
So it's much more convenient. It's much more convenient for him to be in the US full time. And then siguro, if NJPW needs him once in a while, he could travel. Pero hindi na yung sobrang back and forth talaga siya. So I feel like this is a convenient move for him na he stay stateside and be and work with DNA.
Yeah, Triple H moved Kushida to the US, and then the pandemic happened, and then nawalan ng powers to Triple H for a bit, diba? And if you see Kushida's Instagram, he actually has his kid and his wife in Florida. As in matagal na, nung NXT pa siya. So it would be terrible for him to move all the way back then kasi to Japan after they've already established his new roots. So it's good for him. I like that TNA has signed Kushida. Siyempre may history din yan from before. I like this move for TNA. TNA isn't always like the best in booking decisions, but they are on the upswing. They do have some good momentum. I just hope that the brain trust continues to coast along just fine to grow their company. I think they deserve naman to grow, especially after the good moves that they made over the past couple of years.
Yeah. Tama nito si Angelo in the comments, yung MCMG, diba? They're friends with Kushida. Alex Shelley was his former partner, diba? Time splitters. So that should be a fun little reunion. Or if they can be a trio together with Chris Sabin, that would be a nice little throwback as well. So good news all around for everybody. It's a great move. So, I'm happy for them.
Tsaka, I don't think this is the last we've seen of Kushida in WWE. Triple H has been getting his pieces back little by little. I think he sees the worth naman of the NJPW guys that he brought over. So it's still possible.
Mm-hmm. All right. So in a few days, you're going to be hearing our bonus audio-only episode. We'll be talking about another Japanese superstar in Shinsuke Nakamura and your latest development in story now with Cody Rhodes. We'll also talk about Lexis King's gimmick as a clout chaser and some very interesting elements of NXT storytelling that have caught our eye over the last couple of weeks. So all of that should be in your podcast feeds over the next couple of days. In the meantime, you can join us on our next episodes, picks of the week early next week. Then syempre yung live stream natin on December 21, where we will be having our live raffle for the LA Night gift pack. So again, you can get tickets for as low as 100 pesos each. tinyurl.com/WWP Christmas raffle. Again, tinyurl.com/WWP Christmas raffle for your chance to win an authentic LA Knight t-shirt, LA Knight beanie, and LA Knight wristbands from wweshop.com. All right? Next week, magre-record din kami ng year-end awards natin here on the podcast. So that should be out on your feeds towards the end of the year during the break between Christmas and New Year. So we're really psyched for that as well. And
marami kaming bagong categories.
Yeah. For the long-time listeners, we're changing things up for the first time in 8-9 years. Yeah. We're debuting some new stuff like the NBA. And for the new listeners, it might be your first time hearing our takes on these year-end categories. So go catch that episode as well. All right, let's get to some plugs. Emile, what do you have going on?
Wala naman, just follow me on all my socials, on TikTok, email_meister, also on Twitter, and that's it.
Yeah.
All right, ikaw, Ro.
Please watch. Please watch MWF Action Novela TV. Noche Buena is happening next week, next Monday. The first of two-hour parts will be airing. Tapos yung second part will be airing on Christmas Day. So legit yun. Noche Buena siya. So if you saw the emotional posts, the emotional clips, the fallout from everyone who participated, both wrestlers and audience members, eto na, makikita niyo na. Somebody actually asked me if this week's episode was Noche Buena. And I had to disappoint them by saying, no, it's a recap show. Kasi they had heard so much about it. So it's good to know that I'm excited to watch the whole thing. It's really good. It is, dare say, the best wrestling show that we put on this year. And maybe so far. So please go catch that on Rock of Manila TV. They're on Facebook, Rock of Manila TV, and on YouTube as well. And then you can also catch the ad-free versions of the episodes when we upload them every Thursday on Manila Wrestling Federation's YouTube page. But if you want to catch them ahead of time, you can also subscribe to our Gank. Just go to ManilaWrestling.com, and then you'll get to the subscription page right there. It's around $10, around 600 pesos. You can pay via GCash, debit card, credit card, PayPal, so many different ways to pay and get that content really early. Yeah.
And as a treat, on Christmas Day, you will hear Ro getting censored out for broadcast purposes.
That's the Christmas
Kasi
Day.
nagmumura siya. Yeah.
Can't wait to hear that.
He will be cussing on Philippine television and he will be bleeped out.
Who made me do that though? Who made me do that? Somebody here made me do that, But it happened because we were telling some of the best stories we were telling that night. Yeah.
You guys were
December
so
25, Christmas Day.
Both of you.
Get
your parts really well.
Some non-broadcast friendly terms from Romoran's mouth.
Oh, dito ako. Earlier in the show, there was a way more unfriendly NSFW term that was thrown out. Diba? Emile saw that, diba?
So it wasn't me. Cut
it wasn't
jokes
you.
lang ako, man. It wasn't me. Because I am a professional. Right, on my end, if you're catching the PBA game sa Inares Antipolo on Sunday, go say hi. I'll be there for the doubleheader, and then I'll let you know on social media kung merong PBA radio for me towards the end of 2023. In any case, go follow us on social media. It is at @RoisWar, at EML_Meister, at Chino Supersized, at Monday Night Rowan, and at _Stancy. For the podcast, it is at Wrestling2XPod on TikTok and on Twitter. And everywhere else, it is at Wrestling Podcast. Thank you so much to babyface producer Jasper for everything he does behind the scenes. And to all of our producers and friends over on the Pod Network, Merry Christmas to all of them. The Christmas party na sila kahapon. Thank you so much to all of you for everything you've done for us in the very short time we've spent together in 2023. And we will see all of you next week for the big year-end bonanza of the Wrestling Podcast as we give away that LA Night Christmas gift pack. On behalf of Romoran and Emile Nate, my name is Stan C, saying thank you very much. Stay safe, stay healthy, and don't be a dick. Wrestling Podcast out. Later, weirdos.
Peace.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion,